Hey everyone, Tom from Catching Up with the Nerds, and it is now officially October, which means Halloween is round the corner. And to celebrate the scariest time of the year, we thought we'd get a list together of our favorite horror games on any console at any given time in history. And to help us with that, we also got our friends to sit with us and give us their top 3 games.
Hello everyone, Triceratops Jr. here. If you don't know me, well, now you do. And these are my 3 horror game recommendations. Don't mind the hole right there, it's just not important. Number 1, Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is an asymmetric multiplayer horror game where you take on the role of either a survivor or killer in your very own horror movie. The reason I love this game so much is that in a genre so filled with single-player narrative experiences, Dead by Daylight shines as a multiplayer game with infinite replay value because the scares will always be different depending on what you're up against. It also features a ton of famous horror characters like Freddy Krueger and Pyramid Head, as well as the recently released Pinhead. So, if you're looking for a fun game to play with your friends this Halloween, this game is for you. Dead by Daylight's available to play pretty much everywhere, even mobile, so there should be nothing stopping you from playing this game. Number 2, Resident Evil 7. I wasn't a huge fan of Resident Evil growing up. I get that the game's legacy is super important, but it just never really stuck with me. That is until Resident Evil 7 was released. RE7 revitalized the series and changed the way that I saw it completely. Instead of a third-person or tank controls, the game is a first-person survival horror extravaganza. With a fantastic story to boot, Resident Evil 7 is not only a great game for past Resident Evil fans, it's also a great entry point to the series because it directly leads into the most recent game, Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil 7 is available to play on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And finally, number 3, Until Dawn. There aren't many games that make you feel like you're playing a horror movie, but Until Dawn does this perfectly. In the game, you take control of a group of teenagers trapped at a ski lodge in a snowstorm, while a mysterious killer stalks them. Your goal? Keep these teens alive until dawn. The game features tons of branching paths, and the story changes greatly depending on the choices that are made, so this game is also great to replay and see what kind of things change. Unlike my other recommendations, Until Dawn is only available on PS4, but if you have one, there should be nothing stopping you from playing this game. I hope you find a great new horror game to play, but for now, this is Triceratops Jr. signing off. Catch you on the flip side.
Ooh, the scariest man on the internet. James from How to Game Differently. Now, 3 Halloween games to play on Halloween or just in October, I guess. You know, it's the season to be spooky. Anyway, so we're going to look at 3 games. First one is called Left 4 Dead. Now, Left 4 Dead is a cooperative game, so you play with 3 other players, and you basically try and survive a horde of infected, which are basically zombies. And you have to reach from one objective to the other, going from level to level, picking up different weapons, and fighting off different infected people, basically. So you fight off some just generic zombies, you fight off the tank, the boomer, smoker, the hunter. There's all sorts of different infected that you have to fend off, so you're not kind of tied into just zombies. They all do different things, but the one to always watch out for, and this is a top tip for you, okay, is the witch. So the witch is this crying lady in the corner, and basically just do not disturb the witch. Whatever you do, do not disturb the witch, because if you do, you're in for a bad time. If you're into a more solo story, I definitely recommend Oxenfree. Now, Oxenfree is a indie game that is a supernatural mystery where you play as a girl who's gone on a trip with her friends and her stepbrother, and you try and build relationships as there's a bit of a history that, you know, there's a lot going on in the background, and you have to make decisions about how you choose to talk to people. And the decisions you make in the game affect the game. So it's one of those. So if you're really nice to people, they're more likely to help you. If you're really negative, then that might trigger a story plot, those type of things. But the supernatural side of things is that you pick up on these radio frequencies, and the radio frequencies are actually coming through from another world. And let's just say things don't go particularly well when they try to connect to the other world. A little bit like Stranger Things in a way. So yeah, if you like Stranger Things, I think you like this one. That's actually quite a good comparison thinking about it. But anyway, yeah, Oxenfree, fantastic game. And if you enjoy it, there's a sequel coming out. So look out for that. If you're like me and you're a parent and you want to play a spooky game with the kids, then I definitely recommend Luigi's Mansion 3. And I would recommend 3 because it's the easiest one to get. It's on the Nintendo Switch, so yeah, it's not difficult to get hold of. You can play it solo, you can play it cooperatively with Luigi. Try to say that 10 times faster. Jeez, that's horrifying in itself. Anyway, Luigi Mansion, fantastic children's game. You know, it's part of the Mario franchise, so you know, it's not going to be too scary for the kids to play. And it's all about basically being a ghostbuster. You know, you're going around with a vacuum, you're sucking up all these ghosts, you're beating them, which is a new mechanic, which is a lot of fun. So those are the 3 spooky Halloween games I would recommend if you want to play with friends, on your own, or with your kids. Fantastic games. And yeah, that's about it from me. So I'll pass you on to the next one. See ya.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for letting me put my input in for the spookiest season of the year. And when it comes to horror games, you know, it really comes down to like 3 or 4 different types of horror. And for me, some of the best types are that slow building dread and that lack of control that you have. So for a game that has a real slow build for dread, I'd look towards like Majora's Mask, where you've kind of got this very obvious timeline going on and you're trying to rush against that clock, and that fear of not making it in time is always kind of looming over you. It's not scary in the sense that it's like, bang, here's a big jump scare. It's just got that lingering dread throughout the whole game. And another game that also has dread is BioShock, which as a series is always known for its sort of slow atmospheric pressure in the first 2 games especially, where you're making your way through these dark, empty, decrepit sort of chambers where you are not the strongest thing there. There are things far more dangerous than you, and you have to continuously watch yourself, and occasionally there are some good jump scare moments, like with Rose the Splicer, who has the hook hands, for example, in BioShock 2, or occasionally when big daddies or big sisters jump out at you. But the real terror from BioShock comes from the little sisters, because they're just always around somewhere. And finally, I want to talk about Amnesia. Now, Amnesia, you know, it came around a while ago. It's like, I think 10 years old now or something like that, and it was a big YouTube trend at the time anyway. But that game really builds terror. You are completely defensive. It almost started that genre of games where you're kind of put into a position where you've got no control over what's going on around you. The monster is faster than you, the monster's stronger than you, and all you can do to protect yourself is hide. And that's the sort of horror that I really love. Amnesia also had this thing where you see it in other games now where they have to open the doors yourself. So you have to click the door and then you control how fast it opens or closes, so you can just creak it open for a peek, or you can slam it open, make a bunch of noise. And it's just a great game. And that slow horror, that slow tension, that's what really does it for me in the spookier seasons.
So for my first pick, I'll go with Silent Hill on PlayStation 1. It was released back in 1999 and is still considered to be one of the greatest horror survival games ever made. You can play as Harry Mason, who is looking for his daughter Cheryl, who disappeared after a car crash outside the town of Silent Hill. Your journey will take you into an absolute hell-filled environment full of nightmarish monsters that will haunt you forever. Now I remember playing Silent Hill for the first time back in maybe 2000, and what got me was the mood, the music, the vibe of the entire thing. I mean, just look at the smoke-filled environment that is around you. It will freak you out, not knowing what's coming up around you, or where the noises are coming from. This is all part of the psychological thriller that game is. And now for our second pick, and it has to be Alan Wake. Now this game came out on the Xbox 360, and if you think you'll get the same feel and experience as Silent Hill, well, you think right. Both Alan Wake and Silent Hill are very similar in terms of gameplay and storyline. In this game, you'll be assuming the role of Alan Wake, who is a very successful writer in search of inspiration to finish his latest book. Just like Harry Mason from Silent Hill, you're looking for someone dear to you, in this case, your wife, who, you know, is scared of the dark. She goes missing during a countryside retreat, and it's up to you to find her by combing the streets of Bright Falls. The themes of darkness and light are both central to this game, and you will need your torch to weaken the enemy before defeating them with a weapon of your choice. I think that'll be a gun or a shotgun. This game has a eerie vibe to it, and it gives me the creeps on multiple occasions. definitely a great pickup for this Halloween season, as a remastered version just got released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox One. The third and final pick is a bit of a weird one, because I didn't go for a full-fledged game, I went with a demo. And that demo is PT. Now, if you don't know what PT is, well, again, it's not a full game. It's a demo that came out a couple years back on PlayStation 4. And this was meant to be the great announcement from Kojima and Konami for a new Silent Hill game. Now, things didn't go well at the time between Konami and Kojima. And when Kojima got let go by Konami, well, they took the drastic decision of shelving the whole thing. Now, this is a bit of a weird one, because people usually leave their demos on the store and it's fine, you know, it's not there to do anything much. But now you can't download it anymore. It's not accessible on the store, you can't find actual copies for it, so it's pretty much of a rarity. I mean, even if you have it still installed on your PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, you can't even launch the bloody thing. So yeah, if you've played it, if you had the, you know, if you're lucky enough to have played this, you know what I'm on about. This is absolutely terrorizing, this game. And the concept is fairly simple. You just go through this long L-shaped corridor and you start hearing noises and stuff, and dead bodies and ghosts and noises. I mean, it's a great game to play with your headphones on. And it's really a shame that Konami is not letting that game up on the store. I mean, it's really scary. I can't really emphasize how much cold sweat this is giving me. I mean, if you're brave enough, just go on YouTube and look up people, their playthrough and they walk through the demo. It will give you an absolute nightmare for days. Thanks everyone who contributed to making this video, and thank you for watching this here on YouTube. If you've not done so, please give us a like and a subscribe. Anyway, thanks guys very much again for watching, listening to us. We'll catch you in the next one.